This is an audiobook created by Subconscious Key Studio. Have you ever stood beneath a canopy of ancient trees, the light filtering down in dappled patterns, and felt a profound, wordless sense of belonging? Or perhaps you've shared a moment of such perfect understanding with another person that the boundary between you and me seemed to softly dissolve. That feeling, deep, intuitive, and often fleeting, is more than just a passing emotion. It is a whisper from the depths of reality, hinting at one of humanity's most profound and enduring mysteries. For thousands of years, mystics, sages, and philosophers from every culture have pointed to a single, stunning truth: that our everyday sense of being a separate, isolated self is, in fact, a compelling illusion. They have spoken of a fundamental oneness, a unified field of existence from which all life springs. And now, in our modern age, a surprising and powerful chorus of voices is joining this ancient song, emerging from the most rigorous laboratories and the most complex equations of physics. This is the story of that great convergence, the meeting point of empirical discovery and eternal wisdom. This is an exploration into the beautiful, mysterious science and spirituality of connection. Our journey begins not in a laboratory, but in the quiet contemplation of the human spirit across millennia. Long before telescopes or microscopes, our ancestors peered inward and outward, arriving again and again at the same breathtaking conclusion. They did not see a universe of separate objects, but a single, flowing, interconnected whole. Let's explore some of these profound perspectives. First, we turn to the concept of Anima Mundi, or the world soul, from the philosophy of Plato. This is the beautiful idea that our planet is not merely a rock teeming with life, but is itself a living, breathing, sacred entity. In this view, we are not just living on the earth as strangers on a ball of rock. We are intrinsic parts of its being, much like the individual cells that make up our own bodies, each one essential to the life of the whole. Can you feel the truth in that? The air in your lungs, the water in your veins, all are on loan from this greater body. From the West, we journey to the East, to the ancient Vedic traditions of India and the concept of Brahman. Brahman is the ultimate, unchanging reality, the infinite, formless consciousness that pervades everything. The world we perceive with our senses, with its solid objects and separate beings, is called Maya, often translated as illusion. But Maya is not a lie. It is a divine magic show, a veiling of the true, unified reality. The spiritual path, then, is the gradual process of seeing through this veil, of recognizing the one Brahman in all its myriad, temporary forms. Now, let's consider the Tao from Taoism. The Tao is the ultimate principle of the universe, the unnameable, undefinable source and flow of all that is. It is the way of nature, the path of least resistance, the harmonious rhythm underlying the cosmos. To be in alignment with the Tao is to be in a state of effortless connection and right action, like a river flowing seamlessly to the sea. It is about feeling the current of existence and moving with it, not against it. And finally, we have one of the most beautiful metaphors for interconnection from Buddhism, the jeweled net of Indra. Imagine a vast, cosmic net that stretches infinitely in all directions of space and time. At every single intersection of this net, there is a perfectly clear, multifaceted jewel. And here is the magic. Each jewel reflects every other jewel in the entire net. It holds the reflection of all other reflections in an endless, recursive dance. You are one of those jewels, and your existence, your very being, contains the imprint of the entire cosmos. Nothing exists independently. Everything is relation. This is the ancient whisper, a truth that has been waiting patiently for science to find the words to confirm. For centuries, the scientific story was one of separation and reduction, breaking the world down into its smallest parts. But in the last 100 years, that story has been turned on its head, and the echo of that ancient wisdom has begun to resound in the most unexpected of places. Our first stop is the strange and wonderful world of quantum physics, a realm where our common sense notions of reality simply fall apart. Let's talk about quantum entanglement, a phenomenon so bizarre that Albert Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. Imagine you create two particles together, like twins born from the same quantum event. Now you separate them, sending one to the far side of the galaxy. According to quantum theory, if you measure a property of one particle, say, its spin, the other particle instantly and simultaneously will take on a correlated spin. This connection happens faster than the speed of light, defying all classical laws of physics. It suggests that at a fundamental level, the universe is non-local. Things that seem separated by vast distances are, in some deep way, still intimately linked. It's a scientific validation of the jeweled net. Then there's the famous observer effect, demonstrated most clearly in the double-slit experiment. When scientists fire tiny particles, like electrons, at a screen with two slits, they behave as probability waves if no one is looking, creating an interference pattern. But the moment a conscious observer sets up a measuring device to see which slit the electron goes through, the wave-like behavior collapses. The electron decides to act like a single, definite particle. The very act of observation, of asking a question, seems to influence the outcome. This forces us to confront a radical idea. That consciousness is not a passive spectator, but an active participant in shaping the reality we perceive. But the science of connection isn't just out there in the cosmos. It's also happening right inside your own body. Neurocardiologists have discovered that the heart contains its own intricate nervous system, often called the heart-brain. This little brain in your heart has its own complex neurons, and it communicates directly with the brain in your head, influencing your perceptions, emotions, and decision-making. This leads us to the profound research on heart-brain coherence. When we generate feelings of sincere love, gratitude, or compassion, our heart rhythms become smooth, ordered, and harmonious, what scientists call a coherent state. This coherent signal is then sent to the brain, synchronizing our brain waves and putting us in a state of peak cognitive function, emotional stability, and heightened awareness. This isn't just a metaphor. It's a measurable physiological state of optimal connection. Your capacity to feel love literally tunes your body and mind into a more integrated, harmonious frequency. And finally, modern physics itself is on a quest not unlike the ancient sages, the search for a unified field theory. This is the scientific Holy Grail, a single, elegant mathematical framework that describes all the forces of the universe as manifestations of one underlying field. From gravity to electromagnetism, the dream is to show that everything emerges from one fundamental source. The language is different, but the story is hauntingly familiar. One source, one reality, one interconnected web of existence. The scientists are now drawing the very map the mystics have been describing for ages. So how does this convergence of ideas land in a human life? It's one thing to discuss concepts, and another to live through a paradigm-shattering transformation. To understand this, let's follow the archetypal journey of a scientist, a composite character we'll call Dr. Maya Lin. Dr. Lin was a brilliant neurophysiologist, a staunch materialist. Her world was one of precise measurements, neural pathways, and chemical signals. For her, the brain was a magnificent, complex computer, and consciousness was simply the software that emerged from its wetware, a beautiful but ultimately mechanical process. She was a respected expert, mapping the brain and convinced she was mapping the very source of the self. Then came the catalyst. For Dr. Lin, it was a sudden, severe illness that landed her in a hospital bed, and then into a medically induced coma. In that deep, unresponsive state, something extraordinary happened to her. Her conscious awareness, instead of blinking out, expanded into a vast, luminous reality. She experienced a state of being where the concepts of self and other had no meaning. She was immersed in an ocean of unconditional love and intelligent light. A sense of knowing and belonging so profound that it made her earthly life feel like a pale dream. She was, for a timeless period, the interconnectedness that the ancients described. When she miraculously recovered and returned to her normal life, she was plunged into a deep crisis. How could her rational, scientific worldview possibly accommodate this direct, experiential knowledge? The memory was more real and vivid than any memory of her waking life. Driven by a new and urgent quest, she began to re-examine her field not as a detached scientist, but as a seeker. She delved into quantum physics and found the spooky entanglement that mirrored her experience of non-separation. She studied heart-brain coherence and saw the physiological mechanism for the overwhelming love she had felt. She realized that science wasn't wrong, it was just incomplete. The model of the brain as a generator of consciousness was insufficient. She began to see consciousness itself as fundamental, the primary reality, the ground of all being, and the brain as a magnificent receiver, a filter that translates this vast, non-local consciousness into our individual, personal experience. Her journey built a bridge, showing that the path of science and the path of spirit are not opposed, but are two ways of exploring the same magnificent truth. Understanding this intellectually is a powerful first step, but the true transformation happens when we move from understanding to embodiment, when we feel this connection in our bones. So, let's take a few moments now to practice. This is an invitation to put the books and theories aside and to experience the reality of the invisible web for yourself. Find a comfortable position, allowing your body to relax and settle. Gently close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Bring your awareness to the simple, natural rhythm of your breath. Feel the air moving in and out, not trying to change it, just feeling the sensation of life flowing through you. Now, with this next breath, I invite you to consider the air itself. This very air in your lungs was once part of the canopy of a great rainforest, part of the exhale of the ocean, part of a wind that swept across a mountain range. The oxygen atoms that are sustaining your life at this very moment were forged in the fiery heart of a star that died long before our sun was born. They have been part of countless lives, countless stories. The water that makes up most of your body has traveled the world in a great cycle. It has been rain, it has been river, it has been ice. It has quenched the thirst of dinosaurs and of ancient human ancestors. Your body is not a closed, separate system. It is a flowing, temporary gathering of the elements of the earth itself. You are the earth, aware of itself. Now, bring your awareness inward to the space inside your own body, to the vast, mostly empty space between your atoms. And now, sense the space around you, the space in the room, and the space beyond. In physics, we know this is not a true vacuum, but a vibrant field of potential, the quantum foam from which all particles momentarily arise and fall back. The space between your atoms is, in its essential nature, no different from the space between the planets. You are not an isolated self in the universe. You are the universe, expressing itself in this unique, temporary, and precious human form. Finally, gently place a hand over your heart. Recall a moment, even a brief one, of pure love or deep gratitude or profound peace. It could be for a person, a pet, a place in nature, or even a beautiful piece of music. Feel that sensation in the area of your heart. This feeling, this energy, is the physiological signature of connection. It is the force that harmonizes your own being and, as the science suggests, reaches out invisibly to tune you into the wider web of life. From this quiet, connected place, I invite you to carry a simple intention into your day, to practice seeing the same light of consciousness, the same spark of the divine, behind every pair of eyes you meet. See the one reality, disguised as the many. The ancient wisdom across cultures and ages pointed unerringly to the way. The modern science, with its precise instruments and rigorous methods, is now drawing a detailed and breathtaking map. But the territory itself, the lived experience of connection, is ours to explore moment by moment in the quality of our attention, the depth of our compassion, and the courage with which we choose to love. The invisible web is not just a philosophical idea or a scientific hypothesis. It is our true home, the fundamental nature of what we are. The great work of our lives, then, is simply to remember our place in the whole. And in that remembering, to actively, joyfully participate in weaving the web a little stronger, a little brighter, with every conscious breath we take, with every act of kindness we offer, and with every moment of awe that stops us in our tracks.